jump into another mindset. Although since we were talking about youth, we will still be in that mindset in a certain way, not as young maybe, but our young designer circle is bringing us the next workshop we'll be having. So on the theme of collaboration, that is more and more of foundation skill for designers that work in the different breadth of design profession. We find ourselves working in a wide range of with a wide range of professionals coming from diverse fields and people with different perspectives and opinions. And the workshop that Chris Pandolfi and Gizem Severoglu have prepared for you, they're both part of the Young Designer Circle, will give some simple ways in which teams can work through these issues and begin to transform their beliefs into actionable values. So I'm very happy to welcome Chris and Gizem for this workshop. The stage is yours.
Hey, thanks everybody. I'm Chris Pandolfi. I'm a designer and educator based in Toronto, Canada. I'm also my official title with the WDO is a strategic advisor for the Young Designer Circle. And now I'm going to pass it over that way to Gizem because you're right beside me. Go for it.
Hi everyone, my name is Gizem from Turkey. I am also a member of a Young Designer Circle. That's all.
So today I think what we're going to do, Gizem, did you want to introduce the workshop or did you want me to go forward? What did you?
You can start and then I can keep.
Yeah, so this is going to be I'm going to put the link to, we're going to work today in Miro. It's going to be a very light way of working. And I got to make sure it goes to all participants and not just the panelists. So panelists and attendees. So there we go. So you're going to have you're going to get a link to this Miro board, which I'm going to share my screen in a second and we're going to go in there. Just a little bit of an introduction to this. This is an activity that a few years ago, working with some people, people that I never met. I do a lot of design charrettes or design thinking things, which this is not the talk to be critical and all of that, but I'm very critical of some of these activities because part of the problem is that it kind of sometimes, even though it's supposed to put these people at the center, it forgets about actually thinking about and taking the time for people who are working on things, whether that's with your engagement, the people you're trying to engage, or whether that's even your personal teams, actually trying to understand how people look at the world and trying to analyze and understand the values that we can come and create together as a team and values that can drive projects. And so this workshop we're about to do today is something that I had done with the YDC when we first originated. And so maybe I'm going to pass it over to Gizem to kind of give you some understanding of how that worked and what they thought about it and how it helped them develop some things. So I'm going to pass that over to you now, Gizem.
Yeah, thank you. As YDC, we are the probably one of the groups that they have never met. We are 17 young designers from all around the world. We couldn't get any chance to see each other in face, and we had to manage everything online. And during the first weeks, first months, we had to know each other. And then we started our process with this workshop that we will do today. Collaboration is a huge something. But when you need to work with others that you never met, that you don't know anything about, is challenging. This helps us to find our personal values and the common values for the design community. And it actually accelerates us before creating the content for the projects, because we got a chance to discover each other's interests, each other's how they want to dedicate their time, because all of us are volunteer, and interest is a key point for sustainability of the community. It worked for us to find out. So we thought maybe if we share with everyone this method, they can apply for their own teams. They can discover their own collaboration methods. This was the aim of it. Maybe it's a good time to start.
Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen very quickly. Just give me 1 second. Share, and great. And I'm going to move you all off my screen so you don't have to look at yourselves. There we go. And I'm going to introduce everybody. So I'm gonna share my screen the whole time so that way we can work together on Miro, because maybe some people aren't familiar with Miro. Is there anybody that is not actually familiar with Miro in the workshop? I'm gonna give a little mini tutorial. We've kind of set this up so you kind of don't have to know what you're doing a lot, but if there's anybody who's never worked with this before, feel free to type what it is you want in the chat. And then what we can do is copy and paste it and put it over into the Miro board. I always also encourage other participants in the workshop to help out your other participants. So if someone's like, hey, I don't know how to use Miro, maybe you're like, hey, no problem, I do. And you can digitally help them out by bringing in their information and making sure that they're heard as well too. But again, if you don't want to use Miro, that's totally fine. Just you're more than happy to type your comments in the chat or turn on your microphone, say it out loud. That's the other thing. Feel free to turn on or not turn on your microphones or videos. It's whatever you're comfortable with. I have no problem people talking while I'm talking or interrupting, asking questions. I love that. I function much better in that kind of environment than like talking into the abyss of the internet, into like a blank screen. So so just always know that I'm always open for that. So yeah. Okay, so just to get started with Miro, one of its core functions that it does really well is that it works with zooming in and out. And today, most of the work we're gonna do, so if you look over here on my screen, there's a plus and minus. And if you just click on the plus and minus, you can zoom in to different aspects by clicking. And if you're not, and if you don't want to use the mouse to do this work, if you hit Control or Command, if you have a Mac, plus or minus, you can zoom in and out. Okay. The other little mini thing that you're going to do today is you're going to type on Post-it notes. And I already see some people have been doing that. So you just, if you double click into the Post-it note and type, hello, who are you? I am a human, not a bot. Okay, so that's gonna, right? So you can just click in and type your responses, and you can type as much as you want, and the Post-it note will hold that in for you. Okay, and there'll be little instructions as we move through the board. And the other thing too is I'll keep this board open so that way people can go back and look at it if they want afterwards as well too. So so just to get started, we just have some things to get going with. Just want to take some time to know who people are. Who are we meeting with today? You know, who are you? You can describe yourself any way that you want. Some people like to describe themselves through their profession. Some people like to describe themselves through their hobbies, through their family. People have different identities, so however you want to describe yourself, just want to know a little bit who you are. Also, your name can work. Also, by the way, sometimes you can use your name. And then the other thing that I always try to keep around when we're making these workshops are things like useful information. There might be something that you know that other people don't, and that they would love to know as we're talking about this values and beliefs kind of topic that we're going in on right now. And so if there's something that you find that's interesting that you would like to share with other people, please feel free to share that in this section under useful information. And the last thing is we have this map here because we always like to let people, we always like to know where people are from. So the YDC, we're a very global group. So we always like to know where people are from in the world. And so if you just want to take a green dot, So I'm just going to take one here. I'm from Canada. And I'm just going to map it. Or am I? I'm actually right there from Toronto. And just for some of you that are maybe interested to know, this map is an autograph projection by Hajime Nerokawa. And it is now officially the most accurate two-dimensional projection of the planet. So in terms of a map. So that means that everything is at best in size as it can be in 2 dimensions. So just give everybody some time just to kind of go through these different questions and just like fill out what you want, what you don't want, and just get comfortable. And again, if you have any questions, I'm gonna guide the mural board. I'm gonna do a little bit of driving here. I'll try to move slow so that way I don't give anybody vertigo. And so as people are doing this, I want to talk a little bit maybe more about some of this process. So this process is really about trying to understand a couple of things. It's trying to understand who's in the room, who's not in the room, and whether or not we need more people in the room. And the answer to that question is always yes, we need more people in the room, especially for creating projects that are looking at topics, especially around social design and working with different communities. But it asks these questions, but it also asks kind of questions that people want to look at both from their personal understandings and the understandings that they have for a world that they want to achieve. And more importantly, and when we get into that, you'll start to see how we can have a conversation. So this workshop there's no science to it. What it's trying to do is get people to a place where they can start to create a conversation around forming values and beliefs together and understanding how those values and beliefs can continue to drive any project that they're working on forward. Okay, so how's everybody doing? Are we filling out some of these things? I see some people are filling out the map. The map's an easy one, so I'm really glad about that. And we have some people here. I'm Yulis, industrial designer from Turkey. Hi, I'm Gabby. I'm an industrial design student from Mexico. Very excited to learn. Thank you very much. Agus, an industrial design student from Argentina. Great. So we got a real, getting a lot of people from a lot of places. Okay, so just from a time perspective, normally I want to say, like, when you do this workshop with people, you're really going to want to probably give about an hour to an hour and a half in terms of just letting people really resonate and reflect. But what we wanted to do for this was kind of introduce people, kind of go through the process so you could start to think about how you could even change it for your own needs and these kinds of things. So I'm going to be quite tight with time here, but this is the way that I want you to think. So for the first question that I want to ask people is, what do you want for the world? So we all have big aspirations for the world. What we want to see it, what we want to see change in it, what we would like it to be. I want everybody to take some time and write down as many things as you want, all the things you personally want for the world. So I want you as a person to think about that large scale. What do you want for the world? Don't worry about how it needs to be achieved or how it's going to get done. Nobody cares about that. We just want to know, what do you want from the world? So again, if you just double click into one of these Post-it notes, you can go ahead and write your response. And if you are not wanting to use the mural board, please type in your answers and maybe Gizem can copy and paste them into the mural board. Okay? Sure. So just write them down in the chat as well too. So a safe place for my kids to grow and live in, an equal place for all. This is great. And remember, you don't have to just fill one in, you can keep going. The more that we have, the better. And I'm just going to stop sharing my screen for one moment. I'll be right back. I just want to I just wanted to, I forgot to turn off my notifications. So just worried I might get some notifications on Slack or something while we're doing the workshop. So a just world, communications around boundaries, religion, languages, a better place for all living beings. So let's keep going. But already you notice, right? Generally people, when they want something for the world, it's more or less, it's usually good things. People generally want things that are good. Although maybe you could do this with a group of people who would not come up with those things. That's also a very real option. A dignified life. That's a really interesting and important one. And what does a dignified life mean in different contexts and different understandings? What are the traits that we need to think about? So I'll give everybody just one more minute to finish up this question, and then we'll move on to the next one. And remember, this is completely anonymous, so nobody really knows. Nobody really knows who's saying what. Sensitivity to nature, equal opportunities. No to pineapple on pizza. Okay. So if you're still thinking about this, you can always go back and we can come back to this in a second. So that's what we want for the world. Now I want you to think about what do you want for yourself? So I want you to think very introspect. I want you to now think about your personal scale. Just you. What do you want for yourself? What are the things you want to achieve? What do you want? Right? So we thought about the things that we want for the world, and now we need to think about the things that we want for ourselves. And be as specific as possible here, because the more that you know, what I find is, you know, when somebody says a happy life, it's like, well, what does a happy life entail to you? A happy life could mean a lot of different things to a lot of people. And the reality is a happy life for you can also maybe create a very unhappy life for somebody else. And these are the kinds of things that we're going to talk about. This idea that this idea that good intentions are not enough. It's what our actions from these good intentions actually mean. So I want you to think about that, and I want you to be very honest about when you what do you actually want for yourself, and what does what you want for yourself actually mean in the different societies that we live in. So seeing some great answer, help people through design, time and space. Health. The freedom to do what I'm passionate about. Contribute my creativity to a better world. So again, very aspirational, very they're all very, not very like inherently bad things, right? Everything is very good. Also, even what could look like personal goals are still have very collective values, right? That's what we're seeing contribute to this group, right? So the thing is that, oh, sorry about that. I don't know where the board went. I just swiped away from it. There we go. Sorry about that. What I want everybody to consider now is some of these things that they've put down for both, for the world and for themselves, and think and to think a little bit deeper around what we like to think about are contradictions. And so, what do I mean about contradictions? Well, for example, if I were to look at, you know, a safe place, let's look at, you know, equal opportunities. Okay, let's just take equal opportunities. That's a wonderful thing to want for the world. But if we talk about, you know, where you could say something like following my vision, is there potentially some possible contradictions between following your vision and creating an equal world? It's not about saying that you're a bad person or something is good or something is bad. It's removing these lenses and understanding and helping us understand, look at the different systems that we've created in terms of what it means to accomplish different things, how we can accomplish creating a better world or accomplishing a better person, and understanding that in many cases, those are in contradiction to each other. And so by understanding some of these contradictions, right, we can then help to understand and see a little bit deeper about what those things actually mean. So I want you to take a look at any of the things that you see on the two boards, right, for the two questions. So I want you to take a look at, you know, what do you want for the world and what do you want for yourself? And I want you to think about and just write in these circles here if you think there's any potential contradictions that you see emerging here. And if you don't understand what I mean by these kinds of contradictions, I'm happy to further explain myself. And in terms of where we want to go with this, right? Because the idea is that we live in a very layered existence, right? And for example, the things that I want for myself can be in competition. A very interesting thing is around people who always want to help other people. So it's great that you want to help other people, but what kind of help do you want to give them? Do you want to give them the help that they're asking for? Or do you want to give them the help that you think they need? And that's a very obvious answer, but actually how you go about doing that can be very blurry, right? This idea that the designer who wants to help, well, does the designer who wants to help actually take the time to understand what the contradictions of them helping look like are? And do they actually know how to present themselves to people in understanding what help means in a context? So this part's a little bit trickier. It takes a lot of time, and I know that we don't have a lot of time, but this is where it starts to open up. This is where you could start to have a really great conversation with the people who you've just met, the people who you're about to work for, the communities that can question you in terms of the work you're going to do, the teams that you have, the people on those teams, the people who are not on those teams. All of these things can begin to start to show themselves just through these very simple questions, right? So the point is not to create a final thing, but it's to create a chance for you as a team to think about the different systems that you're interacting with and how those interactions of systems are also going to play a role to understanding what your values are eventually. So this is not like, it's not magic, by the way. So I'll give everybody a little bit more time because I see that it's 2:25.
Chris, maybe if you put yours to the map, it can help to show how.
Yeah, sure. So for example, if you want to, you can write them in here, no problem. But sometimes if something helps you out, what's easier is I'll just pick two random ones. So I'm going to take adjust world. And I'm going to copy that Post-it note. I'm just going to put it over here into adjust world. And then I'm just going to take another one.
You can just click and copy with the same tools as other softwares. You can just Control C or Command C.
Exactly, thank you. So I'm going to take another easy one, like contributing my creativity to a better world. So I'm going to put these together. Right? And the first contradiction I can see in these two things personally is that, or, a possible situation, right? Or a question I can ask myself is, do I actually have the tools to create a just world? So I might have a lot of creativity. I might have the right intentions, but do I actually have the right tools to do this? Also, oh, something happened. There we go. Sorry, that's the internet. Right. The other thing I could say is like, do I actually do I actually know what a just world is? Like, is what I think a just world is actually just? Right. So already for me, these are some contradictions that I'm seeing. Both really nice things. But these are two important questions that now I can discuss with the group, because now we need to start defining these things, right? All right, look at this. Sensitivity to nature, copy. Carbon emissions. That's a super easy one, right? Look at this workshop, for example, right? Carbon emissions from this. I'm glad that many of you have your cameras turned off, because we're saving a lot of energy this way. So thank you for that. So I guess again, in terms of the time limits, we kind of knew that we were tight on time. But after this process of kind of finding out what your contradictions are, right? Your next step after that is kind of looking at what the shared beliefs. So you're not even talking about values as trying to word them out, but you're trying to see what's emerging with the group. What are the shared beliefs that we as a group are starting to have? And from there, those beliefs help to inform a thing like your values, your purpose, your project vision, your project mission, where your objectives are going, right? Your values become your touch point. So whenever you're doing something and working on your project, you're always saying, is what we do matching up to the values that we've created? And these values that we've created together through a process, not just through, hey, what are some values that we want to go through? Like, what are some values we want to choose? And so I guess the whole point of this, and this is just one thing to do, there's so many other things to do, is that values are a really, really important thing about how we put things into the world. And what's needed now is, what is the kind of space and time that we give to people in order to do this? So I think we're almost out of time. Gizem, I'm going to give you some last words.
Yes, actually our aim was to give this as a tool to apply for your internal teams or your communities. It needs more time than maybe like 30 minutes when you do it on your own. I just want to include before closing the YDC members survey about the theme diversity. I would like to share the link of the survey if anyone is interested in this. Here you are. And also for the, we received a lot of questions about the YDC. We can say it is the first pilot project for WDO. We can still say it is under construction. The best way to receive updates is subscribing the WDO's newsletter through wdo.org, because if any updates needs to publish, they are supporting us to reach out to members. I just want to share this, subscribe to WDO newsletter to receive news from us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank
Chris,
you, Sarah,
for facilitating such a wonderful workshop and for engaging the audience over the past 30 minutes. So thank you both for your contributions to this program thus far.